small businesses that support the backbone of the United States economy. I am supporting my neighbors, providing for their families, not large box stores supporting their CEO or board members. Sit back and enjoy.
Need help with your taxes? Have back taxes or someone to represent you with the IRS? Look to the experts at Ray's Accounting. With over 25 years experience, Ray's Accounting can help with any accounting situation from bookkeeping to payroll. Don't go it alone. Call Robin at Ray's Accounting today, 813-540-1040. That's 813-540.
All right, let's get ready, guys, and
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony, so much. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you, everybody that is tuning in. And if you're not tuning in right now and you're hitting us on replay, thank you for coming to watch. I would like to introduce my great hostess, Jill Conrad. She's on vacation in sunny Alabama for her anniversary with her loving hubby. We have Anthony Montgomery, who's the tech behind the scenes, who does everything just to make sure that we got everything going and flowing in the right direction. And our guest today is David McLauchlin from Crosstown Garage. I am so excited, David, that you were able to join us. Please tell us something about you.
Well, thank you for having me on. Something about me. I've lived here in the Riverview, Florida area for 17 years. I have a family, a wife, and 4 kids, 3 of them still at home, 2 boys, 2 girls, and a dog. And yeah, I've been working in this area and very plugged into the community, started with insurance and then ended up with owning my own company as Garage Door.
Do you have children?
I do. 4 kids, 3 of them still in the house. So 2 boys and 2 girls.
Oh, that's a lot of kids. And do you do anything else within the community? Anything specific that you want to discuss?
In addition to owning the Garage Door company, I also have a motorized screen company. We install motorized screens on back porches and such. And besides my 2 companies and my family, I have a little bit of time for church, and that's about it.
So, Jill, do you have any questions?
Oh my gosh, I have all kinds of questions. I'll start. Don't look away. I got your number, David. So I want to start out by telling everybody, David's been a friend of mine for a number of years. And I'll start out with a little story. My mother went into ICU and she was on life support. And I thought to myself, had to take her off life support. And I was like, who can I call that would come out here, spur of the moment, into the hospital, say a little prayer with my entire family? And lo and behold, I called David, and David showed up, and he did a prayer around my mom's bedside, which really meant the world to me. And I'm telling this story because I want you guys to know what an amazing person he is. And we'll talk about his business in a minute, but I think for someone to come out and do that, they have a lot of integrity and a lot of love in their heart. And right after David left, David, I don't even know if you know this, but my mom hadn't moved actually for 5 days. And I went and I held her hand after you walked out the door. And she actually, by some act of God, I think, her arm started to shake and she grabbed my hand, and it was like she had a death grip on me. And it was the most amazing thing. And that was right after you left, after saying your prayers. So that was, I think, a miracle, honestly, I would have to say. So enough of that sad stuff, but I just want to thank you, David. I don't think I've actually really formally thanked you for what you did for me and my family. And he has stepped up for my family actually a couple times in emergencies. And so that tells you a little bit about David as a person that he would never tell you on his own. So if you want somebody to come and work on your garage door that has integrity and is honest, you look no further. Just call the number that Robin's going to put up and you will not be disappointed. So that's my story. And I love David like he is like one of my family. But David, I'll ask you so that our viewers, in case they want to know or they might need to call you. Let's start out with maintenance. What kind of maintenance would somebody do with their garage door? Because I called you when mine no longer went up. So is there something to do before that happens?
Well, unfortunately, with a garage door, the only thing you can really do to maintain it is check the balance in the springs and lubricate it on a regular basis. And in Florida, you really only need to lubricate about once a year. So I offer a service. It's called a TLC service. It just kind of checks everything out, checks the balance of the door, checks your opener, sprays everything down, lubricates it. And if you're one of those people that like to do stuff on your own, like some people's husbands that are on this podcast, if you're going to lubricate the door, lubricate all the round parts of the door. Everything that's round is a moving part. Sorry, I'm going to turn that off. Everything that's round is a moving part in a garage door, and it should be lubricated.
That's money, David.
Oh, no.
Goodbye to money.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's the only thing you can really do to maintain a door, because everything's metal. You can't look at it and say when it's going to break or if it's getting ready to break. You just unfortunately have to wait for it to happen. But that's why we give immediate service. If someone calls, generally we try to get out there within a day to kind of tackle the problem and figure it out.
What does a service like that cost in general? I'm just a ballpark figure, unless you have a straightforward figure.
I can tell you exactly. That service is $45 anywhere in Hillsborough County. I offer $45, and that it's a much needed preventative maintenance that we push on people.
Now, is that a once a year? Hey, you didn't push that on me, by the way. It's time to come do maintenance on my door.
Well, I figure you're going to call me anyway, so I'll just be out there eventually.
Well, that's true. Hopefully not with an emergency. So, is that a once a year type maintenance?
That is a once a year. If you're in up north where it gets really, really brittly cold, then you want to lubricate more than once a year. But we're in Florida, so we only have like no days like that a year.
How far do you
David,
travel?
you mentioned you mentioned in Florida. What happens in Florida that everybody talks about? Hurricanes. Does it really matter if we have a hurricane door?
It absolutely 100% does matter. The statistic is 80% of damage done to a home in a hurricane or named storm starts with the loss of a garage door. And the reason for that is because that is in most cases, that's your largest opening. And if you think of the material between your garage door ceiling and the roof, that's your attic, and there's not much there. So what happens is if that large opening is jeopardized because of wind, and the wind starts going through that large opening, it has no place to go but up, and it's going to rip the roof off. So that's why in Florida, you are required, once you change your garage door, to put a hurricane-proof door in. Now, it's important because you got to pull a permit, and you have to work with someone who is licensed. I am a contractor, a garage door contractor licensed, can pull permits in Hillsborough. And to answer your question, Jill, where you're going, I mainly stay within Hillsborough. That's kind of my area that I like to stay within. But yes, I pull permits because the county wants to come in behind me and make sure that I installed a perfectly hurricane-proof door that's required for that area. And I'll tell you, the maximum wind load in this area for Hillsborough County is 155 mile per hour winds. Every door I put in is 170 mile per hour winds plus, because they're getting ready to change the code. So I want my customers to meet the code once it changes.
Okay, how would I know if I had a hurricane? I mean, I don't, but how would someone know if they had a hurricane-proof door? What is it made differently, or what exactly does that mean to me?
It is made differently. You still have your panels like every garage door has, but on the back of the panels, so from the inside of the garage door, there's these big long struts that run along the length of the door. They come out about 3 inches. If you've got more than 4 of those on your door, and I'm being vague, so keep that in mind, but if you've got more than 4 struts on your door, you're most likely a hurricane-proof door that meets current codes. But again, I'm being vague. That's just kind of the general.
Do they have good-looking hurricane doors? Like, can I get like a fancy one?
Absolutely. It used to be you kind of chose either 1 or 2 or 3 different designs. Now I have booklets with all different designs. What I like to do, it's actually one of my favorite things to do, is when I show up to a house and they're looking for a garage door, is to match the aesthetic of their house to that door. And the reason that's important is most garages in Florida face the road. it's it's a it's up to 25%. Actually, it's more than that in some cases.
wow.
But a lot of cases, when the door faces the road, and you see it in all the neighborhoods you drive through, in most of the neighborhoods, that's about 25% of the front of your house. So that's what people see. So you could put an everyday normal door up there, but nowadays they have so many options. It's the same price, just a little bit different of a design. You could add windows. If you don't want to do windows, or if you want to do windows, you could do different designs in the windows. You could add, those hinges that make it look like a barn door. There's several different ways you can kind of improve the look of your garage door that allows you to stand out a little bit, but also meet the requirements of your HOA.
Does that help with having a hurricane-proof door? Would that help? Would I get a cut in insurance or anything? Does that help my
Yes.
homeowner's insurance? Ooh.
Absolutely, which is another reason why it's very important to pull a permit, because when you pull a permit, there is proof that you've updated that part of your home. It not only gives you a discount on your insurance, but it's for resale value. It also increases the value of your home. As a matter of fact, the percentage is 300% for what you pay for a door. The value of your home for getting a hurricane door ups it by 300%.
What
Not the value of the home, the value of the door.
How much is a door? What's just a basic door?
Basic everyday door, and I'll give you the figures. I charge for a 16x7, which is a 2-car garage. If you don't want any windows, you want just a standard hurricane door, I charge $1,250. The value that it increases your house by updating your door is $5,000. So, yeah, yep, it makes a big difference.
Now, why would I put windows in? See, now we're getting intricate. Why would I even think about putting windows in my hurricane door? Because wouldn't they break?
Nope. Because again, remember, those bars are what makes the bars I was talking about that run across the struts. That's what makes it the hurricane proof. Now that you can buy impact windows, but the windows that come with it are shatterproof windows. So very similar to what you have in your car, your vehicle. And the reason for doing windows is it brings a lot of light in your garage. I don't know about you. My washer and dryer, my clothes washer and dryer is in the garage, and it makes the biggest difference to not have to flip the light on, and it just brings in a lot of natural light. It just makes a big difference. And from the outside, it also stands out because not everybody does glass. Most people don't do glass in their garage doors. So it just kind of stands out, and it allows you to change the design in the windows because those are simply inserts. So if you change some stuff on your house, you can just change out your inserts, and it keeps up with your ever-growing changing house.
What would offer hurricane doors for? Well, by the way, you guys in La La Land out there watching probably don't know. I'm actually live in Florida, and I decided to come up to Alabama just to partake in this hurricane that decided to come and screw up my vacation. So I will definitely give this information to my uncle's home that we're at right now, because you can't see it. This is not a sunny day outside. It's actually very cloudy and rainy. But anyway, so what type of things would people call you about, David, to have repaired on their garage?
There's two very, very common calls. The first one, which is my favorite, is a broken spring. Generally, you go to raise your door and your opener only lifts it up about 6 inches. It's because the door is very heavy. Your spring is what lifts your door. It's not the opener, not the motor. It's actually the spring that lifts your door. So, and it always happens where somebody's trying to leave. So they can't leave, they call, and they need immediate service. I love to serve people like that because the quicker I can get there, the more impressed they are. And I magically work it out in the schedule. But so springs, that's your most common. So for your springs will break every 12 to 15 years. So for example, in Hillsborough County, I charge $250 for that service, which is very reasonable when you start doing a comparison with other companies. And I tell them that's pretty much the most expensive thing you're going to have to do to repair on your actual garage door itself, not the motor, but the garage door itself. So it's nice for people to hear, yeah, 250 sucks, but at the same time, I'm not going to have to do this every 3 to 4 years because I'm putting on high cycle springs. The second most common call is one that I try to coach people through over the phone so I can save them a service call, but that is sensors. And that's the opposite, not opening, but closing. So when you go to close your door, generally the door will start and then come right back up. that's telling you that the sensors are not looking at each other or the wiring's wrong or something like that. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a garage, kicked a paint can out of the way, and then it started working again. So yeah, those are my two most common calls.
Now, I know for myself, David, that you came out and you actually put in a keypad that
Yes.
I could use a keypad. Do you do that on a regular basis? Because that is like a lifesaver for me.
I do. And most openers now that you buy include the keypad, and it also includes Wi-Fi that you operate with your phone. Now every opener has that cool little thing. So, and it's just built in. But the keypads are very, very popular. And in most cases, if you don't have one, they make universal ones that you can install, and it'll read your current opener with no problem.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Give us a cool story, David.
A cool story.
Tell us a funny story. I like funny stories.
Well, I can tell you a funny story. It's more awkward than it is funny, but
I like awkward too.
It's pretty awkward. So I got a call. I was working for, well, it doesn't matter. I got a call to go fix a garage door. It was for a tenant that was living there. So I showed up and I walked in the garage and I start working on it. I think it was a pair of springs. And I start looking around, and the guy had naked pictures of his wife all over the garage, like all over. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really weird. So I was very uncomfortable. Fixed the garage. I was done, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the craziest story. Well, here's where the story gets even crazier is he moved to a different house. I had to go over there and fix that garage. And I walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the same guy. And I'm not lying to you. He called me. There was a third time. And all three times it wasn't the guy calling me. It was the owners of the house calling on behalf of the tenant. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like weird. Now by the third time, I'm like, yeah, I've seen your wife naked. Cool. All over the garage. Like he was just showing her off.
Was that Anthony's garage?
No.
No, it was no.
I was gonna say.
But I will tell you. I was
gonna say. I thought we were keeping that between us.
So it wasn't as fun as you thought it would be.
Oh no.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Oh, that changes everything.
Well, let's see it.
So, would it be okay if I bring your website on stream, David? Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up your website. If you want to give us just a little bit of information, let me stretch it. There we go.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got the size a little bit off. I see that
there is,
and
quite
just a bit going on
briefly,
here.
I'll tell you why my website's geared towards
like the
retractable
idea.
screens, because you'll see
I
a
didn't
lot
know
of retractable screens on there.
Screens?
It's because I wanted to be on the Google search, and nobody in the Tampa Bay area has their website geared towards retractable screens. So, but all the garage door companies, there's a ton of competition for garage door companies. So when I was designing my website, I said, let's lean more towards the retractable screens because that'll get me more exposure with Google searches when they do Tampa Bay screens. So yes, the retractable screens are very cool. I started doing them in front of garage doors for people that use their garage kind of like a basement and whatnot. And then I've kind of expanded. Now I do them on back porches. I kind of go, the perfect client for that is somebody that has a beautiful view that they don't want to permanently screen in. So those are the kind of clients that I look for with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, for the clients that do want them and the HOA doesn't allow it, Covington.
Yep. You can't do it. You can only do it on the back.
I know. Yeah. I so tried to get it into my house.
Know.
And I do want to state that,
I'm still crap.
I do want to state that when you talk about your cost and some of your competition and stuff, I know that there are other companies, they do a lot of TV ads that cost money and everything, and they aren't your local mom and pop shop. And that's something that I go for here in my office. And the reason that we have this podcast is because David is a local mom and pop shop, and he is supporting his family, and he's got 3 children at home. He's he's the real deal, and he's the reason why I have the podcast, and I started it and I was so blessed to have Anthony and Jill join.
Keep going.
It's a hurricane bee.
And it's a hurricane bee. It likes me. I'm very sweet. I'm sorry, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. I appreciate it.
I just really wanted to express that because you did talk about the costs, and your costs are reasonable compared to other companies. And I do know that I've referred you out to many of my clients, and they have all been nothing but rave reviews and thank yous from everyone. So, oh, go ahead, Anthony.
I want to give one quick story since we're talking about how well David has handled the first time that I worked with David. Actually, Jen had made a call out to him. We had been neglecting for years on our garage door. Absolutely horrible, because I'll be honest with you,
Oh, we
I
don't
did
want to
not
talk
know
about Anthony's car.
garage doors needed maintenance, kind of like my car. So, yes. So, actually, David had come out and literally, so our garage door, it was doing just, just like me when I get in Beat
I
Saber,
remember
it
your
likes to
door,
bounce and dance.
And that was many, many years ago, too.
So it's all over the place. Yes, so we actually, I do need to actually have you back out, because when you talked about that broken door spring, yeah, mine just like probably a month ago, I went to pop the garage door and I heard this loud pow, and it got lazy all of a sudden. That's really what I felt like, here's my garage door just getting lazy and doesn't want to open. And I didn't realize it until actually last weekend. I was looking up and I look at one of my springs that are pushed off to the side. And but to get back to the story, the same garage door, David comes out, takes a look at it, and with it bouncing and everything, says, nope, actually, you're not really. It's just the lubrication's not moved.
Until last week.
I think he did a quick swipe down it, and we didn't have a problem ever again with that.
Okay, that's 3 times. You do have the naked pictures up, don't you?
Exactly, but that was mainly because of things that I do. I wish it would be nice, but no, you see what the green screen background is. There's not many pictures in here anymore.
Oh, no, that's perfectly fine. I love
So
it
sorry
when you
about
tell
that,
stories
Robin.
about our guests that are on, and as long as they're not really too embarrassing.
Do you have one, Robin?
No, not at all. David came when I first met David. He came out and he fixed my remote control so it worked, and I was able to open up the garage and down the garage. And then since then,
in English, that's close the garage.
Yeah, up and down, up and down.
Well, if you remember, Robin, your husband had me come put gutters on 2 days before a hurricane.
Yes, he did. 2 days.
When I was managing a garage door company and a gutter company.
Yes.
And I said, are you sure you want these on before the hurricane? He said, I have
So
insurance.
I want to point something out here. We're hearing this. David is sitting here doing the work. He knows what's going on. This is a prime example of an owner not being just an owner and just not really knowing what's happening in his business. He's out there. He knows what work's getting done. So
yeah, if you can tell me how to
another
clone
huge
myself,
benefit
that would be
going with
awesome,
David
because
on
it's
this.
hard to find one of me. Trust me.
How old are your kids? Maybe we can work them into the mix.
I'm working on it.
I don't think the kids are old enough yet.
Cheap child labor.
Yeah, no, not yet. Not yet.
And it's not always easy having a child work for you. I'll just say that much. No, we did have those. And I asked, and I'm like, are you sure? And oh no, we need those gutters up, because then when that rain comes, it's going to flood our living room. So, okay.
And they held too, didn't they?
And they did. And we got back and all the gutters were there. It was amazing. So, David, as a small business person, what is the one thing that we can do to help you grow your business besides clone yourself? Because I don't have that technology.
Not yet. It's there, though. What you guys can do to help me build my business or grow my business is just keep an ear out. One thing that kind of sets me apart from most other companies, I do not charge to come out and diagnose the problem. So if you hear someone that says, man, my garage door is making a weird noise, just say, hey, I know someone that won't charge you to come out and tell you what it is. Most likely that's going to be the start of an issue, is a noise. So if you just keep an ear out for anybody complaining about their garage, you have a neighbor when they open their garage and you can hear it 3 doors down, that I want to talk to those people because they definitely need my service. So that's how you can help, is just kind of keep an ear out for loud garage doors.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, David.
So, Jill, what did you learn from David? Well, you didn't really learn that much because we've kind of known him for a while, but did you learn anything new?
I will tell you, I did not know, Robin, about the retract of the screens that go up and down. I had no idea that was part of his business too. That sounds quite intriguing.
Oh yeah. He actually, I went to one of his presentations and he had the screen and I was really intrigued by it, and I tried to get it on my garage because I have all my kickboxing stuff in my garage. So I could lift the garage door but have the screen down and the bugs don't come, the Florida state bird. And and I couldn't do it. The HOA wouldn't allow it, so I was pretty upset by that.
Bastards.
I know.
That was my inside voice, sorry. It popped out.
Yeah, and Anthony, did you learn anything?
Oh, yes. I did. So years ago,
Lost them in the wrecked cars.
you know how I am, electronics and all the goodies and stuff. So years ago, I lost a bunch of. When we
Hey,
first
I
bought
didn't
the
know
house,
either.
We had one of those garage door openers in it, and lost all the remotes. And we ended up going out buying a new one.
Mm-hmm.
This is twice now, because we lost the remote. So I didn't know that you can buy remotes for these devices. Yeah, that's actually something I thought was pretty cool. I'm like, you know how often, and I'm so worried because if you leave one in the car or get dropped, and so you're always trying to hold on to it. And I've had the older ones, like the gigantic ones that our grandparents had.
Do we call David for that, or how in the world do we program something like that?
No, David does that because that's how I first met him. He came out and my key fob thing didn't work for the door, and he gave me a new one. He programmed it, and that's how I met him. But then we got the thing on the house, the
Gutters.
Yeah, I would
gutters.
go through him.
That is correct.
Gutters during the hurricane, Robbie. Wait, where'd you go?
I know. Well, I've had a very crazy kind of week this week. I had to close my office. I'm having my office sterilized right now due to the fact that there may have been someone in my office that may or may not have been exposed to COVID. So I just, I want to be safe. I do have elderly clients that come in, and I have a lot of appointments coming up because tax season is right around, the end is right around the corner. It is the 15th of October. So I had to close the office for a couple of days, and we'll be back and roaring on Monday. But it's been a crazy couple of days in my head. And I forgot to ask David, what about the pink doors? Did he have pink doors?
Oh, your husband is never going to let you put a pink door up.
I know, but I can dream, right?
You're going to get that pink door just as quick as you get a Trump door. That's all I can say.
Nice.
It just ain't going to happen, young lady. We scared Anthony. He disappeared. Oh, there he is.
Oh, no,
Maybe you can get a pink door with Trump on it.
I don't know, maybe.
Where I am. Can you see the view?
Yes, it is. It's beautiful.
Man, it just sucks to be me right now, you guys. I'm just letting you know. There's our
Absolutely.
Yes.
So what are you doing for your anniversary tomorrow?
Well, considering my husband told me it was today.
It's not today, it's tomorrow.
It is tomorrow, and I kind of knew it was tomorrow, but he convinced me it was today because, you know, when you go on vacation, you're on the road, you kind of lose all track of everything. But I am here for you guys. So I think we're going to hit the road as soon as we're done here, and we're going to shoot, because we're just right outside Montgomery now. We're going to shoot back to Georgia and just kind of, who knows what we're going to do, to be honest with you. Yeah. Let me go right into that storm. We'll do a live podcast from the hurricane, smartass. See? This is terrible wind.
Louisiana.
It is very nice here, though. It was actually in Georgia. We went to North Georgia at the beginning of the trip, and it was cold. It got up to like 50. That was cold for me.
I see the hair blowing already.
Yeah,
And
very.
we drove all the way here.
Believe it or not, I'm going to be flying to Detroit in December.
Wear your mask.
Oh yeah, definitely a mask. But you know, Lisa, my BFF up in Michigan, her daughter's getting married, and she needs a little help and someone to hold her hand, and I'm on my way.
The daughter needs someone to hold her hand?
No, mom. Yeah. Anthony, you guys got any?
I just want to say before we cut out that David is amazing, and for anyone who's actually still watching us through our shenanigans that usually happen at the end of every podcast, I would recommend him above everybody else. Not only because he's just an amazing man, and he's so ethical, he's so honest. His prices you won't beat, but honestly, just if you got to sit and talk with this man, he is I can't say enough about him. So if you are having any struggles or anything going on with your garage, please call him, because he works with you too. I mean, he's such a kind-hearted person.
He really is.
I just love him to death. And we're very lucky to have him.
When I first met him, wasn't he going over to the other Jill's place on Sundays for the people that couldn't come to church? And that's what I was when I first asked him, I said, well, is there anything else? I was kind of waiting for that to come out.
He used to do, so he would read the Bible with at the memory care facility. And I mean, he doesn't charge for anything like that. He didn't charge to come out to the hospital right before he took my mom off life support, and he didn't even hesitate. I mean, he was pretty far away, and he's like, Jill, I'll stop whatever I'm doing and I'll head over. And I mean, she held out and she waited for him, and he has helped us with so many things, my family, during our crisis as a friend. That, I mean, like I said, I can't say enough about David, and I hope that anyone who needs work done really does reach out to this man. And honestly, I would pay double the cost that he charges me because of him.
Absolutely.
So I guess we should bring up the fact that any guests that we have here on our stream, we've used, we've worked with, and we know them. We do not choose people at random. We're not, you solicit us.
Absolutely. Everyone that I've invited, you know, I have known, I've met, I've talked to, I've used their services, and I would not at all refer anyone that it's the know, like, and trust. If I don't know, like, or trust you, I'm not going to refer you, because then I'm going to look bad in the back end. But I want you guys to have a wonderful weekend.
What are you doing, Anthony? What is he doing, Robin? There's no horses here. Wait, there was deer. there's no horses, but there was a bunch of deer that, hold on. Look at that wind, hurricane winds.
I'm looking
Wait.
for horses.
Let me get to where I can show you where the deer are.
I see a fence.
I want to know when I'm getting
Oh,
some
there's gotta be
venison.
horses.
Uh-oh, she moved away too far.
Huh?
Is that?
Where?
Would that
Oh,
be
there
in
she is.
Wait,
Florida?
what are you
Like
looking for?
City Boy?
I want the
Looking for
venison.
Horses want to see green.
Oh, we don't have, they're live deers, not dead deers.
I know,
So,
right?
Next Friday, I might be
know,
home.
that's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. So who knows?
Who
We get
knows?
venison.
You better get closer to
Oh
the
no, I will
Wi-Fi.
be home. I'll be at the assisted living
It's a deer
facility on
salami.
Friday.
Yeah. Get back to the Wi-Fi. You went
Well, we
too
can
far. You
change that,
started to
can't we?
crackle up there. So I make
crackle
up
me
for
up.
it, don't I? Just make
You
them up.
crackle me up, Robin.
I crackle myself up.
So if for some reason you guys are everyone's just starting to get in to watch the last 2 minutes of the podcast, we had David McLauchlin on here, and he repairs garage doors and all kinds of other cool things. And he's Crosstown. His company is Crosstown Garage, correct? Am I
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
I
his
love it
information
myself.
has been put up in this podcast. So please reach out to him. He's an amazing man. And go ahead, Robin. It's starting to get really windy out here. I'm going to be like a weathercaster. Here,
Yeah.
let's dance.
You're sounding like a weathercaster. Folks,
And in the
really, I
midst of
want
the hurricane, Robin, I'm doing this for you.
thank you so very much. I want everyone to enjoy your weekend. Remember what David said when he was here, what we could help him do to help him grow his business is just to keep your ears
I know,
open.
That's what I'm
And
thinking.
just remember that he is an honest man with integrity, and we couldn't refer him enough. So with that being said, it's happy hour. Your weekend starts now. And
Bye, everybody.